All right. Well, listen, we know the phase two teams, right? Let's run through them really quickly, talk about the games that are coming and make some quick predictions, right? That way we don't have to come back in 2 weeks and do it again. From Liga MX, it's Toluca, Pachuca, Tigres, and Puebla. From MLS, it's Seattle, Inter Miami, LA Galaxy, and Orlando City. So let's chat first about Seattle versus Puebla, right? Because Seattle are Seattling again. They start off slow. Nobody talks about them or mentions them in any way, shape, or form. Then quietly, like, oh, by the way, we're going to be great again. And they work their way up the table. Then they get into the midseason break and they just go off, right? The only MLS team to finish a perfect 3-0-0 with a wild 9 goal differential after a 7-0 thumping of Cruz Azul, while Puebla sneak in over Juarez with the most wins in regulation as the first tiebreaker. They thumped New York City 3-0. Thank you, before losing to Crew 3-1 and then outlasting Montreal 2-1 to make the tournament final eight. They've been hot and cold going into this, so I want to ask you your prediction. Who moves on here? I don't need scores. I don't need anything. I just need to tell me, give me your thought process and who moves on.
I mean, I think Seattle does. And to me, it should be pretty easy. I mean, like I mentioned before, Puebla just lost 7-0 to Tigres. I think that's going to have a big impact on their. I mean, I know the game is not for a while. It's not till a few weeks from now. But I think Puebla overperformed to get into the knockout stages. And I think Seattle, like you said, I think the 3 wins for them was not a fluke. Maybe it was a little bit better than you could have expected, but it's a good team on paper that at the start of the season, if you'd said they get 9 points in the League Cup, you'd be like, okay, I could see that. So I think just generally here the odds are pointing in Seattle's favor, and I'm gonna follow those odds.
I can't wait to edit Effie Trinket in there saying the odds are ever in your favor. I'm also giving this one to Seattle in regulation. I think they've just got a bit too much quality for Puebla to hang on. The attack is kicking on, the defense is switching on, and Puebla were hot and cold, right? They beat up on a not so good New York City side, then they got beat by a very good Columbus side, and then they barely snuck by a very bad Montreal side. So their level is not quite where they need to be, and I think Seattle can handle that pretty well. Second match of the day is Pachuca versus the LA Galaxy. And out of nowhere, it's the LA Galaxy reviving their season with a huge League Cup push. 5-2 over Tijuana, 1-1 PK loss to Cruz Azul, and then a 4-0 win to close out the first phase in their last game. This team couldn't buy a win or a goal in the first half of the MLS season, and now they're the second leading goal scoring team in the tournament behind Seattle. Ricky Puig isn't even back yet, right? And they're still flying high. Maybe he's back for the second leg and he pulls something out crazy. But we'll have to see. Pachuca, on the other hand, went undefeated in this tournament, picking up a 3-2 win over San Diego, lost in pens to LAFC, then finished off a Houston side with a 2-1 win. Give me your thoughts. What do you think?
It was definitely a really strong showing from the Galaxy in the group stage here, and it's good to see them starting to get a bit healthier and look a bit more like the LA of old. I don't think I could take them in this game though. I think Pachuca has a lot of quality on the team. They're doing really well in their league stage so far. 3 wins from three so far to start the season. They're definitely in form. Maybe form in the next 2 weeks can play a big factor into this, but I think Pachuca is just going to be a little bit too good, even with Galaxy kind of getting on a better streak right now.
Yeah, listen, there's something exciting about this Galaxy attack, right? If things go right, they have an outside chance of making the playoffs, right? And I think that is such an outside chance,
A very
right? I think
outside
they
chance.
and we talk and when we talked about it, right? But let's just take a real quick look here.
They're 14 points
Standing.
off with a game in hand right now from the
So
play-in.
yeah, so 14 points from the play-in game with what? That's 10 to go. You can get up to 46 points. You've got an outside shot. You need help. Like I said, you probably need Austin, Salt Lake, or Colorado still to lose out, or lose a significant amount of their games, and you need to be just about perfect, right? If you are there, you can, that might happen. But here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking if they go on the next run, they go four unbeaten here, like bang off 4 wins, pick up 12 points, get themselves, 28 points in the next, 3, 4 game weeks or whatever. I'm thinking that, and I don't know how many games are between now and the second phase, by the way. So this is a hypothetical, but if they get on a bounce and they're running really well and they think, oh, we might actually do this, I think they might rotate and say, okay, paint, Sil, Peck, and we're going to try and make a run at playoffs because that's more important to us than anything else. and that might give Pachuca an easy path. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I'm going to still go with Pachuca here, regardless of if that happens or not, because I think that they I think LA Galaxy got a really good run in, and that was about as good as you can expect out of them. All righty, game three. It's Toluca versus Orlando City. Orlando sneaking in above Portland and Columbus with a +6 goal differential as they all had the same amount of wins in regulation. They had the exact same record. So they started off slow with a PK loss to Pumas before a resounding win on the back end, 3-1 over Atlas and 5-1 over Necaxa, where Luis Muriel's hat trick propelled them to the final phase. Toluca, on the other hand, is the top team in the Liga MX table, 2 wins and a PK win to their name. They started off with a come from behind PK win in Columbus that was followed by a 2-1 win in Montreal and a 2-1 win in New York City. Give me your thoughts.
So I think we talked about this in the preview, but both of us, I believe, were pretty high on Toluca. They seemed like a very talented team on paper, and they definitely were the one Liga MX team to really show out. And the only, by the way, the only Liga MX team who points wise would have made the knockouts from the MLS standings. Literally every other team would have been knocked out if they were on the MLS side.
Great point.
Um, so I think they are like a genuinely good team. This isn't like a fluke situation. Not to dog on them, but not a fluke situation like Puebla. They've won two out of their three games in the to start the season so far this year. They're sitting third. Like I think this is a legit team, and I think Orlando is a very solid team, and they're kind of like always hovering around that low playoff spot, like 5 through 7. You kind of know what you're getting out of Orlando at this point. I think Toluca is just better, and I think obviously anything can happen in a one-off game, but I'm gonna stick with Toluca on the run here. I think they're just probably the stronger side in this case.
Yeah, listen, I've got this is going to be an interesting game, right? Orlando's got really good firepower, right? Ojeda, Pasalic coming into their form again, kicking on really well. Toluca aren't scoring a ton, but they're finding ways to win games, right? They're defensively sound for the most part and holding their own. I think this is going to be of all the games, I think this has the best chance of going to penalties. And I think, Toluca's got a PK win, Orlando have a PK loss. Let's go numbers. I'm not one to defy, odds, and I think I'm going to go Toluca on PKs here. I think this one's going to be close, and yeah, I think it'll be tough.
3 for 3. Let's see if we can go 4 for 4 here.
It's be an interesting one. It's a big one. It's Inter Miami versus Tigres. Not only is it the game of the quarterfinals, I think it's likely going to be the game of the tournament. You've got Inter Miami, who is Messi-less for now, won 2 games and a PK shootout to finish second in the MLS group. They had a 2-1 win versus Atlas, a PK win over Necaxa, and a Messi-less 3-1 win over Pumas. Okay. Tigres, on the other hand, firepower for days. Huge handful to deal with for the Miami defense. 2 wins and a loss in regulation after they smacked down on Houston, snuck by San Diego, and lost their last match to LAFC. What are your thoughts?
So I think the big question obviously is going to be if Messi plays, right? I think he is enough of a swing to fully swing results here. But my thinking, if you assume he's in, my thinking is this is a real, as you mentioned, this is a really tight matchup between these two teams. Both teams are very good, in good form. Like it is going to be, like you said, probably the game of the tournament. When it comes down to that, I'm looking at who are the game changers that can really swing things in a one-off match. And
Mhm.
there's no better game changer in across either league than Messi. So if Messi is playing, I'm putting my bets on Inter Miami to win this one. If Messi's out though, I think Tigres goes on.
Interesting. So which one are you picking? Which you got to pick one.
I'm going with Miami. I think he will play.
Okay. We were so close. Tigres is beatable if you play them right. Right. We saw that with they didn't finish perfect in the group, and there are ways to beat this team. Messi plays a huge factor. Blah, blah, blah. Messi plays a huge factor. I agree, but in my opinion, Tigres attack is going to work this Miami defense, and whether Messi's there or not, I think I just don't think they're going to hold their own unless Ustari is healthy and does bits. Or I mean, what's left? It's Ustari. It is William Yarborough, or who is playing for Miami this most recent round. Rios Novo, that's right. Atlanta boy. Rodrigo De Paul is also a really big part here. The dude has been fantastic in his first couple of games, but I don't have any confidence that their defense is going to hold off this dangerous Tigres attack. I mean, they look so good. So I'm going Tigres here with or without Messi. Yeah, so I got three Liga MX, one MLS. You've got two and two. Should be very interesting. I know the powers that be would love two and two because I think that nearly guarantees one more round of. Is that right? So if Seattle beats Puebla and Pachuca beats LA, yes. And then if Toluca and Inter Miami, yeah. So if it goes your way, they've got one more MLS versus Liga MX, and they're just like, yes. Um,